Alina had always believed that kindness didn't need an audience. She lived a simple life: college classes in the morning, part-time job in the evening, and a heart full of empathy that she inherited from her late mother. Her routine walk home took her through a small market street, vibrant during the day but calm in the evening. That was where she first saw the old woman sitting under the shade of a broken street lamp. Wearing a faded shawl and holding a small metal cup, the woman barely spoke. People passed her by, sometimes dropping a few coins but mostly ignoring her. But Alina noticed something no one else did. The woman never asked for money. She only smiled politely, as if grateful simply for being acknowledged. One evening, Alina gathered the courage to sit beside her. "Assalamu alaikum, auntie," she said softly. The woman looked up, surprised but delighted. "Walaikum assalam, beta," she replied warmly. Her voice was gentle but carried a pain Alina couldn't yet understand. That day, their conversation was short, just a few questions about her health and where she lived. But the next day and the next, their conversations grew longer. Alina learned the woman's name was Shireen. She had no family left, she said. Her husband had passed away long ago and she survived on whatever people gave her. Alina didn't know why, but she felt drawn to her. Maybe it was the loneliness in Shireen's eyes or the calmness in her voice. Soon, Alina made it a point to bring her food every day: fresh fruit, warm roti, or chai. Sometimes she read to her from her favorite books. Sometimes they simply watched the sunset together. But strange things began happening. Once, Alina noticed a luxury black car parked near the corner, a car that didn't belong in this neighborhood. Odd. Another day, she saw two men watching Shireen from a distance, whispering to each other. But the moment Alina looked at them, they disappeared into the crowd. She wondered if she should ask Shireen, but the old woman always changed the topic. Still, Alina didn't stop visiting. And every evening as she walked home, she felt lighter, like she had done something meaningful. Like she had made someone's world a little brighter. What Alina didn't know was that her kindness was being watched closely. And that soon, everything she thought she knew about Shireen was about to change forever. The morning it happened, the sky was unusually quiet. Alina had brought homemade breakfast parathas wrapped neatly in a small container of curry. She smiled as she approached the familiar bench, expecting to see Shireen's warm, welcoming face. But instead, she froze, for tall bodyguards in crisp black suits stood around the bench, positioned in a perfect square. Each wore an earpiece and dark glasses. Their posture was stiff, alert, protective. And sitting in the middle, wearing the same faded shawl yet holding a dignity that suddenly looked royal, was Shireen. The entire street was staring. Shopkeepers whispered. Children tugged at their mothers' sleeves. Some even recorded from afar, unsure of what was happening. Alina's heart pounded. She thought something terrible had happened. She hurried forward, but one bodyguard stepped in her path. "Mum, please stay back." Shireen immediately raised her hand. "Let her come," she said softly. The guard stepped aside and Alina walked forward slowly, confused and nervous. When she reached Shireen, she gently handed her the food. "Auntie, are you okay? What's going on?" Before Shireen could reply, a sleek black car pulled up. A man in a tailored suit stepped out, mid-40s, authoritative yet respectful. He walked directly toward Shireen and bowed his head slightly. "Madam, the arrangements are ready. We can leave whenever you're ready, madam." Alina blinked, stunned. The man then looked at Alina. "Are you Miss Alina?" Alina hesitated. Yes." He smiled. "Madam, Shireen told us everything about you. Your kindness, your visits, your help." Alina looked at Shireen, completely lost. "Auntie, who are you?" Shireen's eyes softened. "Beta. I haven't been honest with you." She removed her faded shawl, revealing a beautifully embroidered dress underneath. The crowd gasped. "I am not poor," she said gently. "I come from one of the oldest and wealthiest families in the region. But after losing my husband, I wanted to understand how people lived without power, without status, how they treated someone they believed had nothing." She looked into Alina's eyes. "And you were the only one who saw me as a human being, not a burden." Alina's breath caught in her throat. "You gave me time, respect, and warmth. Things money cannot buy." The man in the suit added. "Madam hasn't let us approach her until today. But she insisted that before she returns to her estate, she had to see you." The entire market fell silent. Shireen reached out and held Alina's hand. "Beta, you showed me the world still has good people. And for that, I owe you more than you know." Alina stood speechless as the truth settled in. The woman she believed to be alone and helpless was, in reality, someone powerful, someone who had chosen a life of simplicity to reconnect with humanity. It sounded unreal, like something pulled straight from a movie. But Shireen's gentle eyes held sincerity. "Why didn't you tell me?" Alina whispered. Shireen smiled. "Because then you might have treated me differently. And I wanted to know your heart, Beta." Not your politeness, the lead bodyguard approached with a small velvet box. He opened it carefully, revealing a beautiful gold pendant engraved with delicate patterns. This belongs to you, Shireen said. Alina stepped back immediately. Auntie, no. I can't take this, Shireen shook her head firmly. You must. This isn't payment. It's gratitude, she touched Alina's cheek lovingly. In my life, I met thousands of people who bowed to my wealth. You're the only one who bowed to my loneliness. Tears filled Alina's eyes suddenly. The man in the suit cleared his throat. Madam has also arranged a scholarship fund in your name. Full tuition, books, accommodation. Everything. You helped Madam without expecting anything in return. Now it is our turn to help you, Alina gasped. My education? But why? Shireen chuckled softly. Because someone with a heart like yours deserves every chance to go far. The market erupted in hushed whispers. The story was already spreading. Some people recorded the moment. Others cried silently. No one could believe the girl who gave food to a poor old lady was being rewarded by someone incredibly influential. Shireen slowly stood up with the help of a guard. It's time for me to go, she said, her voice trembling slightly. But remember, Beta, kindness never goes unnoticed. Even when the world isn't watching, God is. She pulled Alina into a long, emotional hug. The crowd watched, touched by a scene that felt almost sacred. As Shireen walked toward the car, the guards forming a protective circle around her. She turned one last time. You changed my life, Alina, and now you will change many more. The car door closed. The convoy slowly pulled away. And just like that, the woman who had once sat quietly on a broken street bench vanished into the distance, leaving behind a girl whose life had been transformed forever. People rushed toward Alina, asking questions, congratulating her, some even apologizing for ignoring Shireen for so long. But Alina didn't say much. She just held the gold pendant tightly, knowing deep in her heart that her mother had been right all along. A single act of kindness can rewrite fate. If this story touched your heart, then like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. And remember, real kindness begins when no one is watching. Daily act of kindness turns viral when four bodyguards show up unexpectedly every day. She passed by the same old woman sitting quietly on the corner bench, frail, tired, and always alone. Most people walked past without a second glance. But not Alina. She couldn't explain why, but something about the woman's gentle smile made her stop. A simple conversation turned into daily visits. Some days she brought food, other days warm tea, and sometimes she just sat with her, listening. But one morning, everything changed. Alina approached the bench like always, only this time, the woman wasn't alone. Four tall, stern-looking bodyguards in black suits surrounded her, scanning the crowd like they were protecting someone extremely important. People froze. Shops went quiet. Even cars slowed down. Who were these men? Why were they guarding a woman everyone believed was poor? And why were they staring directly at Alina as if they'd been waiting for her? What happened next shocked the entire neighborhood.